Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Let's Talk with me, Joe Emilio, and as always, a guest on the show tonight. Very excited to have with me. You can see him already on the right of me. He's chilling there. Some of
The
you may
far right.
recognize him. Far right. Some of you may recognize him from Renegade Report. He is also founder of ZACP. He is a lawyer. He's a coffee lover. He's a YouTuber. He's also French and Arab, and he's a gun lover and a wannabe Texan. Ladies and gentlemen, Ramon Cabanac.
Thank you, Joe. I hate the fact that I'm a wannabe Texan. Like deep down spiritually, I am a Texan, to be honest. I try to live like a Texan outside of Texas.
I know. I've heard many times on your show that you are a big fan of Texas. Actually, let's talk about that for a second. Where did that come from? Like, why Texas? Why this fast? Is it because of the Cowboys?
No. Like I just know a little bit of the history of Texas. I know that it's been a red state for a very long time. It's a very wealthy state. It's got some of the strongest gun rights legislation in the world, and very few bad things happen in Texas. So yeah, Texas is great.
Well, we've got quite a bit of viewers already tuning in. All the usual suspects. Clarissa R says hello. We have Rochelle says she says she likes your wall, which is a lot of people ask about that wall behind you is really cool. Everyone just saying good evening and hello. IZA is here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Feel free to ask Ramon any questions. This is like free. Like if you want to ask him about politics, you want to ask him about what underwear he's wearing, anything at all. I'll pass on the question and see if he'll answer it. Yes, IZA says Joe is the real Texan. And you know what? From what I've seen about Ramon and the way he thinks and operates, he's also, dude, you're a Texan through and through. From one
There
Texan
we
to
go.
another.
I mean, if I had to move there, I'll a bit of a drawl. Other than that, like I'm in. Go to Walmart with an AR-15 to buy some milk. I'm in. I wish I could do that here, but I can't.
No. All right. So you're also French and Arabic, which I found very interesting. Can you tell us a bit about that? Like, from which side of the family is the French and the Arab?
Well, both parents were born in North Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and 3 out of 4 grandparents were born in North Africa, and one in France. So there you go. And I was born in France personally, but
Okay.
parents in North Africa, Morocco, grandparents, 3/4 of them born in Algeria.
Okay. All right. Do you know Arabic?
No, not in the slightest. I know Shukran and Allah Akbar. That's about it.
That's everyone knows that. And French? Do you obviously speak French?
Oui,
Oui.
je parle français, oui.
Okay. All right. And you've also been a lawyer, as most of us do know that. How long have you been a lawyer?
I graduated in 2010, so yeah, 10 years now.
10 years.
I've been in law.
All right.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
have any because I know you don't. You said you don't do like the criminal law and stuff like that. I don't know what law you do, but is there any interesting stories you can tell us about like a
In
client?
law,
Yeah, like
no. Well, I knew a lawyer who had the worst office in the world.
how
Now
so?
you live in Cape Town, but in Joburg, yeah, we got this town which is called Germiston,
Okay.
and Germiston is the old school blue collar type of like town. It's called Erkuleni now, right, which is the metropolitan area. Right in the CBD of Germiston, which is a crappy town, there's a high-rise apartment building, and a lawyer had his office in that building. And it's a terrible office. Imagine like a really old apartment from like the 50s. And he's crammed like in the kitchen, and his secretary's crammed like in the dining room, and it's a terrible place. That lawyer makes an average of 20 million rand a year.
What?
Well, he did at the time
Oh, okay.
for road accident fund claims.
Wow. Okay.
So
Well,
he
that
had
tells you a
so,
lot.
so he had a ranch in Texas. True story. He lived on an estate in Biffview, but his office was literally a shithole. Like terrible,
Wow.
terrible office. And yeah, that's the best story I can tell you. I don't. I think he skipped the country because I think he stole money from the RA from the road accident fund.
Well, do
But
you
other than
think
that,
so?
yes.
I would really wonder about that. It seems like you have a bit of a crush in the comments. Rochelle's asking, is he on lockdown with anyone?
Quite a few. A few dogs, a toddler, and a wife. So yes, afraid so.
The Brew just joined us. Evening Brew. Go check out his channel, The Brew, talking about a lot about vaping and all that stuff. All right, cool. So you, lawyer, coffee man. Let's talk about that. You got, for those of you who don't know, Morning Shot. Uh, Basically, it's not coffee. It's not well. It's not about coffee. It's about news analysis and what's happening in current affairs in South Africa. Very, very, I think, in my opinion, neutral, to the point, and honest, which is great. It's what we need. But Morning Shot, how did you come up with that name?
Well, I just thought, okay, what do I do in the morning? I make an espresso, and it's called a shot. So I thought, okay, well, if I can make a daily YouTube video that you can have with a shot of coffee, but obviously it's in the morning, so you just combine morning and shot of coffee, and there you go. Yeah, it's not like a very long, groundbreaking story. I'm afraid it's just like combining two things that I used to do anyway.
And do you purposely keep your episodes like short, like because I've noticed they've been. I don't think you've ever had an episode over 12 minutes. Is you trying to keep with the shot idea? I'm guessing like short, quick. Uh,
Yes, no, very much so. I think people's time is limited, especially in the morning. So imagine a news bulletin like on the radio. That's
mhm.
normally between 5 and 10 minutes, though mine's video and a bit more engaging, one hopes. So I try to keep it. It used to be under 10 minutes, but now it's under 12 minutes.
Okay, all right. And here's a question. Do you have any like out of all the episodes you've done, out of everything that you've reported on, like all this stuff that you uploaded, is there any episode that sticks out for you that's like your favorite?
Well, it's not really an episode, but it's an interview I did with a man called Ludwig Gericke from Dwarskerspos in the Western Cape. He was arrested for walking on the beach while
Oh
having a
yes.
baby strapped to him. And since that story went out, it went on the front news of a Sunday paper report. And then Gerrie Nel from AfriForum took it on as a case. And now
Hmm.
he's defending him in court. And they plan to sue the municipality and the magistrate because the person who arrested Ludwig, named Officer Pedro, true
Hmm.
story, he's been terrorizing their community for a number of years without any recourse, apparently.
Oh
So
wow.
there could be some good things coming from there. So yeah, that's my favorite one because there's like sort of real life consequences
Yeah.
to that story.
But surely, I mean, okay, well, obviously, like now that the courts have found the lockdown illegal, to using saying that loosely, um, someone like what happened to that guy on the beach, he could sue the state, correct?
To some degree, I mean, it's important. The court found some of the regulations irrational, therefore unlawful. So yeah, he could basically well sue for unlawful arrest, so to speak. Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure you'll keep us updated with that story as it develops. And well done on because I saw also from that episode or interview rather that you were on the report, the newspaper,
Yes,
correct?
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Congrats on that.
No,
Um,
cheers. Thank you.
how long has your channel been around, and what exactly? I mean, okay, so you spoke about the name of it, but what inspired you to start it?
So, I mean, this channel is like 10 years old. This is just one I used to use when I still use to watch my content, right? I watch whatever, Phil DeFranco or whatever, cooking channel, or whatever the case might be. I've uploaded my first video this year, which was the first morning shot episode, which is terrible. So don't go back and look there, please. And the thing is, I just needed with the Renegade report, I saw how well it's doing, right? I can see that people are engaging with this sort of content. It's something they haven't or don't really hear necessarily on mainstream stuff. And I thought, what can be disrupted quite easily is the news in this country. So not necessarily the news, like the factual investigative stuff, because that's still pretty good. But like the analysis of stuff, right? So Cyril says X, Y, Z, and Aaron will be like, oh, he's saying this to appease Ace,
Mm.
and Ace wants to do this, and it's always like a sort of internal personality political story. Whereas I try to look at the macro issues and the macro ideology of like the ANC, for example, and say, to look at the trends of this party generally, and all these little stories that I do on a daily basis sort of builds this mega trend of where we're heading as a country. So I want the news that I do to be analytical, but also informative to a person in terms of understanding where their position in society will be in a few years' time,
Mm.
just based on the ideological consideration of the ANC.
Mm. And have you had any backlash from the far left?
I've been the most peaceful, a lot of shit, but not for this.
Sorry, you're breaking up a bit. Are you with me? Uh-oh. We got you
Have I
back.
lost you?
Yeah, just for a
Yeah,
second there.
sorry.
I didn't
Uh,
hear the answer. Sorry.
all right. No, the far left have left me alone, to be fair, in this regard. For some reason, normally they give me a lot of trouble and a lot of crap, and I thought that, well, the more content I put out, the more they can take things out of context and stitch it up together. And they haven't done that for some reason. So, yeah,
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
why. Maybe because they can't argue the points I make, but who knows?
Fair enough. We have Lee York who's asking, does Ramon know Harry Nell personally or through other connections?
So I have met him once through Renegade Report. He was on our show, but I haven't. But I don't know him personally. I only met him once when he came on the Renegade Report, which was, yeah, a good 2.5 years ago.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah, I'm just checking out so what these guys are saying here in the comments. I like to try and keep up. But yeah, everyone's kind of debating on by themselves about Texas. It looks like. All right, cool. So ZACP, I spoke to you about that off air, and I just wanted to ask you this question on air, just in case people want to know, because I was thinking. I'm going to full disclosure here. All right. I was thinking of somehow getting involved with ZACP. I like their policies. I like the group so far. If one wanted to get involved, how would one go about doing that?
Well, for now, it's a little bit difficult and premature. Between elections, for a political party who doesn't have any seats or any form of funding, it's very difficult to keep a momentum going between every 5 years
Hmm.
or every 2.5 years. So for now, there's not much you can do, I'm afraid, Joe. I'm afraid to say, not much. A year before the next election, yes. There's a lot of things one can do. But between elections, it's very difficult because there's no form of urgency. People don't really pay attention to it anyway. I mean, listen, the Freedom Front Plus won 10 seats. Does anyone give a shit what they do between elections? No, not really.
Yeah,
A few. Does anybody know what the IFP has said in the past 3 months?
no,
Not really. So why would anyone give a shit about a party that didn't win one seat?
fair enough. But I think ZACP has made some strides during the lockdown. I've seen its group has grown in its numbers, like quite a lot. People are talking about it. They're liking the idea of ZACP. I had Christoph Smuts on my show. We were discussing is capitalism a swear word? Because obviously capitalism for some people it triggers them. Not sure why. You yourself are a self-proclaimed capitalist because you are. You have a business. You sell masks and merchandise. So, what's your opinion on that? Capitalism is a swear word.
Well, I mean, capitalism is just a term used to denote, free trade between peoples and individual people as well. But I mean, but for example, I mean, let's just go back to ZACP quickly. So it's not a question of keeping the ZACP in terms of in the public eye.
Mm.
It's about keeping the people within the ZACP in the public eye. So Canton has a weekly slot on Cliff Central.
Okay.
which is in one of the most popular slots there. I'm doing the morning shot. So the only reason you talk about ZACP is because you know that I was part of it, right?
Mm.
And I've got a bit of a following now on YouTube. So people don't need to worry too much about there's things happening there, and it will come when the
Okay.
time is ripe. But for now, you're not going to do anything, first of all, during a lockdown.
True.
And second of all, you can you you can be the most outrageous person in the world, but if the president is talking that evening or there's a court case, you're going to be ignored.
Yeah,
The only time the media gives a shit is 6 months before an election.
that's true. That is true. Um, all right, so I have a question here, which I think we've kind of answered. But Lito says, "What if I want to share the ideology? Why is there not a channel on like a ZACP channel?"
There is one. It's called the Bevel Cows on YouTube.
Okay, there we go.
Just look for it. We used to do quite a few live streams there in the past, and we have shared a lot of videos about the policies we want to share, and especially the principles that we believe in. So it is there.
All
It
right,
is there.
cool. Then I will, after we're done here, I will go look for it, and I will leave it in the link, I will leave the link in the description below, so people who watch this later can go to it. All right, cool. Well, that answers my question. Hopefully, in a year before the election, we'll see where we are, and hopefully, I can get involved somehow. What's your opinion on? I know you mentioned it on your channel, but let's talk a bit about it here. Secession, because I know from before you interviewed Cape Independence, you weren't too hopeful about it. Now you seem to have changed your mind. Am I correct in saying that?
No, I support secession fully. I
Uh-huh.
just think the practicalities are insurmountable.
Okay.
So I spoke to the Cape Independence Group, I spoke to the Cape Party, I spoke to the ULA, and they all sort of have different stories about secession, and they all have very good arguments about secession. But really, the thing is, if the host nation and the host party, which is called the ANC, and the African Union, and the UN, and the EU, and whatever other international, institutions exist, they won't give a shit
You think so?
if you declare the Western Cape. And of course not. Why would they?
Well, why not?
Why would they? South Africa is an insignificant rounding error on the world GDP. And secondly, you try telling the rest of the world that this secessionist movement wants to get away from black Africans in Africa.
Ah, I see.
That's not the real story of secession. That's not the real story of secession.
Yeah, but you're quite
That is a
right.
story that will be told
Yeah.
about secession.
Knowing the
That's for
ANC, the
sure.
way they twist things as usual, that would definitely be the. But even so, I mean, okay, let's play this out and say that that was a message being the ANC saying, oh, but it's white people trying to get away from the black people or whatever. Um, Again, in terms of wanting to be independent and having the right to be independent, is that necessarily a bad thing? I mean, how can you fight that when you have a right to be independent?
Well, I want to see everyone or anyone exercise that right. Let me know how it goes. When the rifle barrel gets smashed into your face. Rights are just something that the state is supposed to give to you,
Yes.
right? Unless it's like a negative right. But I fully endorse the idea, and I think people should fight to do it. And I support all those groups in doing it. If they ask for help, I give my help. But the practicalities of it, I think, are not as simple as following international law,
Hmm. Yeah, well,
right?
yeah, the ANC probably would make it as difficult as possible for us to or Western Cape to break away, which is what causes a lot of people to say like, oh, it's just a pipe dream, it's nice ideology or whatever, it's never going to happen. But again, never underestimate the power of the people. I always say, and who knows, maybe I think what Philip said about putting it out into the media and getting people talking about it would definitely help. But yeah, I guess I didn't see that aspect of what the ANC could turn it into, which is a very good point. I will admit
Yeah,
that.
I mean the Western Cape doesn't live in a bubble
Mm.
at all. I mean, even the DA is very suspicious of secession.
That's true.
John Steinhardt was on Germ show the other day, Monday, I think, or Tuesday.
Yeah.
No, Monday. And even he says it's impractical. It'll be very expensive. The ANC won't allow it, and the international community won't recognize it. So why don't we try federalism first?
Mm. Mm.
Which is a good argument.
Yeah. Well, what's your opinion on that federalism? How do you feel about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm full on Swiss canton system, like Burgkap must compete with Stellenbosch type of federalism.
All right. Speaking of which, where would you place yourself on the political scale?
According to my enemies or according to
No,
myself?
you. I know where your enemies place you.
So just short of far right, I suppose.
Just short of far right. Okay, interesting. I thought you
No, no, it's not that simple. It's not that simple.
were.
It's not that simple. I have a diversity of views. I'm conservative in my personal life. I'm conservative in my outlook of life, but I'm not conservative with how other people should behave.
Mm.
I think other people should be as degenerate as they want to be, as long as they leave me alone.
Even though you sometimes instigate this, these kind of behaviors. Sometimes, like you're like, "Oh, come on, get angry."
That's not being degenerate. That's just that's just good political policy. But I mean, if you, Joe, want to dress in something vanguard and say like Spanish lives matter or whatever, yeah, cool. Like, go ahead. Just leave me the fuck out of it. Just because I don't join you doesn't mean that I hate you. That's what I don't understand, right? This notion that I must be forced to express an emotion that I don't have,
Mm.
like that annoys me. Like, I don't give anyone shit. Like, if you leave me alone, you do whatever you want. But if you give me shit, yeah, I'll fight back. Yeah, of course.
I think I'm pretty much in the same boat you are. I also like this whole hashtag Black Lives Matter and has caused more divide than it has caused unity, in my opinion, because now everyone starts saying, "Oh, but all lives matter and farm murders matter." And that, look, it all matters. Of course, it all matters. But you get everyone fighting about it now, which is causing more divide. I don't know if you would agree with me on that.
I like division. I think there should be more of it, if I'm honest. Separate the wheat from the chaff, feel isolated, and understand that you have the power to create what you want to create the community that you always wanted, or find the community you always wanted. This Rainbow Nation bullshit, we're all similar, we're all equal, and all we have to do is understand each other. Nah, bullshit. I call bullshit on that. Since the beginning, everyone should live as they wish. Just leave me the fuck alone, and vice versa. I don't need to like what you do. I don't need to agree with what you do.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone, and I'll leave you alone. It's very simple.
Kind of ironic that you want to be left alone, yet you put yourself in the public eye there.
I know, like argue with me on arguments, sure.
Yeah,
But don't come here and tell me how to act,
of
or
course.
don't tell me what I should feel things that I don't want to feel.
Fair enough. Lito is asking in the comments, how does a normal day in the life of Ramon Cabanac look?
Wake up, well, before lockdown, 4:30, go train, come back 7, wake up the kid, prepare food, all that sort of stuff, take her to school, come back to my office, spend 10, 12 hours, no, not 10, no, 8 hours, 9 hours, fetch the kid, come back, do morning shot, a little bit of it, cook, eat, and finish off morning shot, and then, yeah, start again.
Repeat. Quite a busy day though. Where's does the lawyer stuff come in?
Well, between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m.
Okay, at some point.
Yeah, full work day.
All right. So Alexander Papcock, has Ramon ever been wrong about anything, and has he been able to admit it?
Yes, I actually was wrong for the very first time since 1967, 2 days ago. No, it's 3 days ago. I made the mistake of saying Zambia has a port, which apparently is not the case.
I
I
saw
meant to say Malawi or
I saw that
Tanzania. I can't
episode.
remember. And people still give me shit to that day.
Oh man, That's actually that's quite funny. All right, so let's see. We've spoken about who you are. You're a family man. You stay in Joburg. I know that about you. What makes you tick though? Like what? Obviously, even though you say like, "Oh, do what you want to do, leave me alone," blah blah, you must have some uh, patriotism towards South Africa. Even though, like, you might say like, "Oh, the Rainbow Nation bullshit, all that stuff." So, what is the South Africa that you want to see?
A highly federalized, decentralized state that allows all the different nations of South Africa to self-actualize. This is a construct. This is a colonial construct. The entire country is a colonial construct. It wasn't meant to ever happen. People weren't meant to live under the same set of, you know, principles of justice, because our principles of justice are very different. Ask someone who's Zulu, ask someone who's Pedi, ask someone who's Afrikaans, ask someone who's colored. What does justice mean to you? You're going to get 4 or 5 different answers. And I'm not saying one of those answers are better than the others. They are just different. And to have the so-called liberal constitution in Africa that no one actually believes in the first place is moronic. Because all we have is essentially race nationalism for the past 100 years, longer, 120 years. And we just had white race nationalism, now we've got black race nationalism. It's still a totalitarian state at the end of the day. So I don't want any totalitarianism. I want communitarianism. So I want the nations of South Africa, all 12 of them, to self-actualize as much as possible. And that means granting them freedom to practice whatever the hell they want to practice.
Perfectly said. I think a lot of people would agree with you on that. We have a question here. Well, I think you just gave the answer, but what is your view on the Constitution? I think you very much just said, you don't really care about it that much.
Yeah, it's important when people support it. It's not that important when people don't support it. As Thatcher said, constitutions are not written on paper; they are written on the hearts of the people of a nation. And ours is definitely not written on the heart. Some aspects of it are, to a large degree, but certainly, I mean, if there's no functional institution that really enforces anything in the Constitution, it's a bit of a farce at the end of the day.
That's true. Paco. uh, all right. So Paco asks, Ramon, do you finally understand the NWO?
That is a big inside joke. Holy hell. Is it worth going down this, Joe? Were you there last night?
Yes. Well, I was laughing so much.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do
I saw
you?
that. It's somewhere in the it's somewhere in the Middle East. No, that was the old world order. The new world order is somewhere in the West. And they're doing something, and this is the final stage. As to what they're doing, no one knows.
Do you
Yeah,
not
I had a
know
great
that
laugh.
whole conspiracy theory about the New World Order? Do you not know that one?
I've heard the term, but people have different definitions for the same term. So I always ask, what do you mean by that? And then they like the old world order was in the Middle East and the new ones in the West, and something happened. Oh wait, actually the new ones in the middle. I don't know. New ones in the Middle East. It was very difficult to understand. And the person who told me about the New World Order themselves didn't know what it meant, which was the joke. But it was a joke for me, not for them, because they were really serious. It appears.
Yeah, well, it is. It has evolved and changed over the years. There used to be this YouTube video. Actually, what's his name? Germ had the guy on his channel. That old guy that was talking about like, I don't know if you watched it. It was like at the beginning of the
David
lockdown.
Icke.
Yes, David Icke. Did you watch that?
Yeah. No,
That okay. Well, that's
I don't.
pretty
I don't.
much.
I don't watch Jim's channel. Don't tell him.
Oh man, I wish he
Or
was in
Ronaldo's.
the chats now. All right, someone has disliked this video, which I'm guessing is one of your enemies that has been trolling.
Only one.
Yeah,
But Joe, you're a comedian, Joe. Joe, you're a comedian, right? Can I tell you a joke?
sure.
It's my best joke.
Okay.
and it's not mine. I started from someone else. So, what is the worst thing? What was the worst thing about apartheid?
Uh, I don't know. There was a lot of worse. There was a lot of bad things. I know that.
The socialism.
Okay, that's weak. But I get what you're
Oh,
saying.
come on,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
come on. That's the funny part. Everyone will think racism. No, it's the
Yeah,
socialism.
it's
That
the
was the worst part
socialism.
of it.
Didn't you tweet that like
Anyway,
yesterday or something? I'm sure I saw it in a tweet
no,
once.
I tweeted it years ago when I was
Guys,
still edgy on Twitter.
guys, we are not going to have a conversation about the NW. Everyone's like, now we triggered something because everyone's talking about NWO, New World Order. No, is there? Okay, let me ask you this: seeing as they brought up NWO, is there a conspiracy theory that you might say, it's possible?
Well, shit, there's plenty. There's plenty. Um, did George Bush go to Iraq for things other than WMDs?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, did the whatever, the Taiwan 9/11, did it implode rather than get hit by a plane? I don't know. I mean, the it looks like an implosion, but they say there's no such thing. That can't happen. So I said, fine, whatever. But there's lots of
JFK.
conspiracy theories that become true sooner or later.
JFK.
I don't pay much attention. Yeah.
What about JFK? What's your opinion on JFK?
Oh shit, I don't know. I heard so many. Apparently the Russians killed him in cahoots with the Cubans, and Harvey Lee Oswald was a Russian spy because he was in the Soviet Union for a while before.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't pay much heed. I don't really care, to be honest, about conspiracy theories. I look after my own life and what I do. But the best conspiracy theory ever. Cyril Ramaphosa is a reformer.
What?
Oh, that's my favorite one.
I didn't even know about that one. What's it?
That Cyril Ramaphosa is a reformer.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I've never heard that conspiracy theory.
He's gonna save South Africa. That's my
Oh,
favorite one.
I get it now. Um, yes,
Come
yes.
on, Joe.
I was actually speaking to my wife about this. I think maybe someone like you, who's been constantly in the news, probably wasn't fooled. But I think the majority of South Africans were because
Was it what?
when he came into power, everybody thought like, oh, it's our savior and blah blah blah. You were never on that in that camp.
Are you talking about Cyril?
Yeah, like
No,
oh
never,
yeah.
never. If you go back to my tweets in 2017 or wherever he became president,
Mm.
or just before, I said he'll be worse for democracy than NDZ because I
Wow.
knew NDZ would probably disintegrate the ANC,
Mm.
whereas Cyril would unite the ANC,
Mm.
and that's
Wow.
exactly what he's done to a large degree. And he's always been a socialist. I mean, he's admitted that so many times in the past. And I knew he was terrible at business, and that I knew that he didn't do much in his life that would be his own doing. He always had a good team of people helping him. So yeah, I didn't think he was great at all. And when he did nothing for the first like 2 months, 3 months, yeah, a waste, a
Yeah,
waste.
yeah, agreed.
I mean, I wanted him to be good, right? Like I was hoping, but deep down, I knew nothing would really change. In fact, he's done far worse than I expected, to be honest. Like he's worse than I expected.
Oh man, what's your opinion on what's his name? I can please excuse me because I can never pronounce these names correctly. Talbo and Becky.
Probably the best president we ever had,
Interesting. Yeah, I also agree with that.
which is not saying much, right? It's like saying Saddam Hussein is the best dictator because he didn't like kill too many people. Yeah, Thabo Mbeki, economically he was perfect. In every other aspect, he was shit
Yeah.
for the most part. Yeah, like that's it. Yeah.
And obviously, you don't think Nelson Mandela was the best president we've had either.
Well, he was the second best because he let Thabo Mbeki run his cabinet and run the country. Mandela was an important figurehead, right? And unfortunately, we deify these people and make them saints, which I don't like. But I think he was important for the time, and I think he duped a lot of people into thinking the ANC was this liberal democratic sort of you know political party.
Yeah. So you agree with? I mean, I first off, I agree with this documentary that I'm about to mention, but Tainted Heroes, I think, pretty much explain how everything transpired during those years. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, I mean, I bought the book, The
Yeah.
People's War, on which the documentary is based, and I read that. I actually watched Tainted Heroes first, and it was a revelation when I watched it. When did they make it? I watched it soon after them it was released,
Yeah.
2006,
Yeah. Somewhere
2007,
there.
I can't remember. And since then, it was yeah, since then I was like, shit, like I knew the ANC and the struggle and the necklacing and all that, but now you have a sort of coherent story about all of those things, and you understand the context and you understand what they're trying to do, and you're like, the notion that there was no civil war in South Africa, we had a peaceful revolution, bullshit. Bullshit. 24,000 people died in a decade through violence.
There you go.
That's a civil war to me.
How, seeing as you're someone who's read the book, how accurate is the documentary to the book? Like, does the documentary do the book justice?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the documentary is more entertaining. Don't get me wrong. A book is a book, right?
Yeah.
But the book is good. Really, and the documentary is very accurate.
Fantastic. Who wrote who was the author of the book again?
Anthea Jeffrey.
Anthony Jeffrey. Is
Yeah,
all right. Cool. And what did you think of their documentary about what was it? The other one that they made.
about land.
Yes. What was it called?
I went to I forgot. I forgot what it's called. But I went to the premiere, and I thought it was historically accurate until that historian says Verwoerd was a philosopher. And I said, okay, yeah, it's like Hitler was a vegan or vegetarian. I mean, it's true, but like there's an omission there, right?
Yeah.
I told him at the time, you're gonna give Tishoni to this. I don't know if it adds much to your documentary. I think you should just say his philosophy about X was this, not
Mm.
that he was a philosopher. There's a fundamental difference between those two claims.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, people picked on that particular point of the documentary and ignored everything else, which is too often the case,
Mm.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't like I don't know. Like, there's that documentary had a lot of other information that people could have absorbed, but as usual, so, like any, I guess, like most of the lefties do, they pick on that one thing and then they keep on repeating it. So that's just what they do. That's the best that they can do. Everyone now is talking about land, which is great. So Ramon, tell me what else. What is there something that we don't know about you?
Oh yeah, there's plenty you don't know about me, and that you'll never know about me. What kind of question is that? Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to be a YouTube celebrity and vlog my fucking, morning routine or something. No, I'm gonna do my morning shots, and you'll know me for my analysis rather than what cologne I wear. I think that's important, right?
Well, I think that some people would like to get to know the man behind the mic, so to speak, or the man behind the camera. I mean, you have definitely, your channel has grown now to 10,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. Congratulations. So I'm sure there's people out there
Cheers.
that want to know a lot more about you. I mean, okay, fine. So you're married, you have a kid. Um, you've mentioned now your political views and all that. What you've mentioned that you wanted to go to Texas, or that you have, um, that you would go if you could, that you think you're, or you've established that you're a Texan and stuff like that. You obviously like guns. I know that about you. Um, let's ask you this: what's your favorite gun?
Um, Jeez, I don't know. They all do different things. My own is my favorite. My CZ is great. My
Nice.
CZ is great. But I actually want to talk to you, Joe. I think I want to talk to you about comedy, though, if I may.
Okay.
I mean, you're a comedian. Like I don't want to. Sorry, I don't want to like hijack your thing. But I want to talk about this notion of comedians selling out. Not that
Interesting.
you are one of those by any means. Not that you are selling out by any means. But this notion of like the highly corporatized comedy scene. And like,
Hmm.
what do you feel about that notion that you can have like this very authentic, um, you know, artistic expression
Hmm.
being hijacked by corporates?
I feel like you're talking about Trevor Noah to a certain degree.
Well, that's one aspect, but there's
Yeah.
also local comedians who need like corporate gigs, right? And they need to keep it sanitary and no jokes about fat people or whatever. And they get paid 25 grand for the evening. Like, what do you think about that sort of stuff? Like, is it comedy or are you just being a lackey? Like, I don't know. Is there such thing as pure comedy?
Well, if you look at the guys like George Carlin, Dave Chappelle, I think they are pure comedy. I think they stay true to themselves, and they're not a sellout, so to speak. I mean, you mentioned the other day on your channel that Dave Chappelle gave a huge fu to corporate media, and will probably continue on doing so. And the reason why he took a break from comedy is because Hollywood was too much, and he's very open about that. He said Hollywood got a bit crazy for him, and I think he is one of the lucky ones to be in that position. I do think that there is comedy sellouts, definitely. They exist even now in Cape Town in our industry or in South African industry. Over the past few weeks, I've met a lot of guys who are scared to be honest, and scared to even talk about what's going on head on, like for example the cigarette ban. They're scared to give their honest opinion because they're worried that they might lose a potential client or position in a festival that might start up next year or whatever. And yeah, the cancel culture is very real, and we as comedians, I think, we see that we notice it, and especially when ENCA anchors get suspended for actually reporting the truth, and then uh, yeah, then they're not suspended, but they are suspended, and then yeah, so they kind of made an example, and since then a lot of the comedians, especially the ones that do work in media, refuse to speak out. They will regurgitate that message and narrative of Cyril is amazing. The ANC is doing the best it can. Please be patient with us. Your call is important to us. That kind of stuff. I hope I
Yeah, but
answered your
like,
question.
no, to some degree, yes. But then, I mean, the people that we know are those that never followed the script, if you understand what I mean. Like, the great comedians of the past got arrested for saying like tits, right? George Carlin got arrested for using words. Lenny Bruce as well.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe like they won in a million and something, but like I don't know, like where's the balls, man? Like I mean, okay, yes, okay, I'm self-employed. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I get away with a fuckload of things,
Look,
and no one cancels me.
I think the difference is like as a comedian, it depends on where you are in your comedy career. So, like, for example, even me now with the videos that I do, and even chatting to guys like you, and the things that we talk about, which isn't exactly like for the lefties and the general public, will be like, oh, no, that's not true. No, ANC is doing great. What are you talking about? Blah blah blah. Um, it's dangerous, yes, but I'm one that will not uh, sell out, and I've said this before on my show. I when I was in Egypt, I was made to believe that being an American is a bad thing. I was shunned. I was bullied. I was ridiculed for being an American after 9/11. For 3 years of my life, I was very ashamed to be one, and I was scared. I was scared to go out. I was scared to go to school. I was a mess. And my father told me when I approached him and I was honest about it, he said, "Never be ashamed of who you are. You are an American through and through." And those words are what helped me to tell myself I need to stand up and fight for what I believe is right. Now, for some comedians, um, I understand. You need to put food on the table. It's not easy, especially now during the lockdown. You don't have a lot of career options. I get that. And so some of them will just toe the line. For me, yeah, I don't have a lot of options either, to be honest. But I'm not going to sell myself out when I can see that South Africa is not doing well. It's going in a direction that, as you've mentioned many times on your show, we should all be worried about. And I refuse to just stand by and go like, yes, sir, I'll dance for you, sir, and pretend like everything's okay when I'm just as patriotic about South Africa as I am to USA. And yeah, I won't be a comedian that does that. And if I do, Ramon, you have every permission to shoot me between the eyes with your gun.
That's going to be a good shot from Joburg, I must be honest. I need to aim very well. But I mean, but let's look at like someone like, okay, I won't say that Kifness is a comedian, but he's an
Yeah, he's
entertainer,
a
right?
musician. Yeah.
And he has used this lockdown. It's not to my style. It's not something that, but he's made like parody stuff. He's made like comedic stuff that's funny while using the lockdown without necessarily having a sort of political agenda or message or things like that. And then when he got attacked by the ANC, he actually gave them like, gave it twice as hard back, which I respect him for, by the way, to a large degree. But now he's cancelled from like sort of mainstream TV ads and shit like that.
Mm. Yeah, I see.
But who gives a shit? The guy's got like fucking 10 million views during the
Exactly.
lockdown on YouTube. Like,
Exactly.
what is wrong with just having the ball and saying, no, I refuse to be your dancing monkey?
Again, I can only speak for myself, man. These guys, some of them have family, some of them, they. I think cancel culture is winning in that regard because, again, they see examples being made in the general public and with their friends, and that's something I've noticed. Like, since I've been a little bit more vocal about my views, I've had three comedians come up to me in one was on Twitter and two were privately and ask me like, what am I doing? Have I gone crazy? Implying that there's something wrong with me. And I stood my ground and I said, well, I feel this way and here's some evidence. I even told some of them to check you out because I said, like, this is where I get most of my information, you and Ronaldo and all that stuff. So I passed on your links and stuff like that. And some of the comedians have actually gone back to me with good feedback. But yeah, it's I can see, man. Like I was speaking to one of the comedians as well, who literally told me like he refuses to speak out the way I do because he's scared that he's going to lose a potential client. It's just it is what it is in
All
music.
right. Was,
Yeah,
was one of them Conrad Koch?
I have spoken to Conrad Koch, and okay, he's not the comedian I was talking about, but I have spoken to him on my show,
Right.
and
Oh, he's
I
such a fucking sellout.
yeah, I'll admit that. I think he is because I did ask him in a very long way. I did ask him on my show, like, go check it out. I asked him, like, in a very long, convoluted way. I asked him, like, so basically, do you say the shit you say because of your clients? And he, in a very long, convoluted way, said yes. So there you go.
Yeah, no, he's such a fucking sellout. He's been a sellout since he's burst onto the scene. He's a third-rate puppeteer, whatever you call those people, and it is so blatant. I mean, if you're a comedian who makes jokes and is within popular culture, you're a shit comedian. You're not telling people what they aren't seeing. You're not poking fun at things that people know but don't want to say. Oh, why people are bad. Her. Okay, like fuck. Same joke for 10 years in a row. Like, can we do something else for once? When Trevor Noah came out and said, all of you are the K words, right? Or all of you are kaffers, and you must stand up and say, I'm a kaffer and I'm proud. That's like cool. That's like brilliant.
Yeah,
Take the words, use them for yourself, make them powerful.
yeah.
He's never going to do that again. Is that special even out? Or has it
Yeah.
been like deleted off YouTube completely? I wouldn't be surprised. But that was like something powerful, right? Using comedy to re-articulate words and destroy the power of words.
Yeah.
But that just doesn't happen, man. That just doesn't happen, and it's fucking annoying.
I feel your
Uh,
frustration. Like I wish. Here's what happens with some of the comedians, and now I'm not going to say names because I do want to protect them to some degree, but there are a few comedians in the industry that have kind of been shunned because of their political views or the way they think, even though it may not be with the populace that everyone else is following, and not necessarily that ANC is good or whatever, but just from what I can see is the moment anyone goes against the wave or goes against the current, whatever, they just get shunned. They don't get booked. They're labeled as crazy, and yeah, it's sad and it's so ironic because as a comedian, like you've mentioned many times on your show as well, we should be allowed the freedom of expression. It's an art. And freedom,
of course.
especially with freedom of speech. I'm allowed to say what I want to say, whether it's right or wrong. I'm allowed to say whatever. That's why George Carlin, Dave Chappelle, they're so successful because they do push the envelope and they go further and they're like, hey, wake the fuck up. And I honestly want to start going that way. And if people think I'm crazy, or if I lose deals, if I like, I'm scared. I do have something that I might lose. I was supposed to film my one man show for TV before the lockdown, and that's still on the cards, but it's being postponed. And I could lose that. The company could turn around if I say anything outlandish to them. They might turn around and be like, "Well, you said this on Twitter, so we're not gonna film your one man show." At which point I'll call them out like Kifnis did with the mayor. I'll be like, "Okay, this is what just happened to me. This is the company. This is what happened because I said X, Y, and Z. Explain to me how they have a right to do that."
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand why being subversive as a comedian somehow doesn't work when you're not if you just follow the crowd, you're going to be mediocre,
Yeah,
like all the time, because people are mediocre. They really are. People, I mean, with respect, and not to find people watching you right now or us right now, but most people don't think for themselves, right? They're just like receptacles for sensory data, and it just comes into their head and it sticks there, then it leaves, and more come in. Like, it's difficult to think critically and logically about things often. And I just look at what comedians are doing in England, especially like Andrew Doyle, who's the head of Tatiana McGraw, that other guy who's his writing partner, Jonathan Pye. These are like Jonathan Pye is a fucking lefty bastard of note, but
yeah,
he's hilarious.
mm,
He's absolutely funny because he's fighting for principles,
yeah,
and he gets millions and millions and millions of views. No one's going to touch him with a 10-foot pole, but he doesn't need it.
yeah,
Same with Joe Rogan.
yeah,
He's got his own fucking podcast because he has an opinion
yeah.
and he thinks trannies are funny, right? It's funny. And like, well, what is wrong with that? Like, why don't you just create your own platforms? Okay, with YouTube, great. I mean, you're doing a joke, don't get me wrong, it's good. But like, if the club doesn't want you, then tell them to fuck off and you'll do it another way. You'll start another club. You will, I don't know, like, there's just not you, just like comedians. Like, there's like, it's a corporatized culture that has stripped all identity and thoughts from people,
Mm.
and especially from comedians who we rely on to have independent minds.
Yeah. No, I have seen that happen in the industry myself. It's happened to me. I think, and this is my opinion, I could be wrong, but this is the kind of impression I get from the industry, is that I'm not booked as often as other comedians are because I'm not South African. Um, I very rare. I have like, even though that's kind of the culture, like you do have to ask for stage time with other guys that are promoters and doing stuff. But here's like, I've never been. Nobody really asks me. I have to be the one to ask, and it's weird. I've been doing this for 10 years. I know I'm good. I don't mean to boast, but I know I'm good. People say I'm funny, so I only care about what the audience says, and if the audience thinks I'm funny, then I'm funny. I don't care what comedians think. But I've been told by a club owner that oh man, you know what? You're just not funny enough. You're not funny enough. You talk about these weird things. You talk about this. I don't want to see that. I want you to be even funnier. I want you to be funnier than the headliner. And then I'm like, yeah, but I just played your club for like 5 days straight and I killed it. So you're not even you're worried about your own brand. That's what you're worried about, which is that corporate culture that you're talking about. Um, so I'm like, well, I haven't stepped foot to that club again. I was like, well, stuff it. If I'm going to be on TV, that means I'm funny. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to boast, and I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm the funniest shit to hit Cape Town. Not at all. But I feel like I've worked hard enough to get to the certain points where I am, and that's where at this point where we are now in this industry, I am at that point where I'm like, fuck you to the industry because I'm like, I'm gonna do my own thing, whether it be this YouTube channel and carrying it on after the lockdown, whether it be on the stage or wherever. I've had this discussion with comedians as well, where I told them I'm probably not going to perform in Cape Town again because it's full of shit, if I'm honest.
Or why don't you just perform on your own terms?
But that's
Like,
what I
why join
mean.
the clubs? Like why have promoters? Like, the problem with you, Joe, and this is not a problem to most people. The problem with you is that you're such a like nice and respectful guy. I think you need to be
I,
a mean motherfucker.
but you think that about everyone. I mean, you
You
want
must like
John
just
Steenhuisen to
tell
be a mean motherfucker.
people want to feel something.
I
When
think
Dave
I'm getting
Chappelle
there.
talks about the fucking trannies taking over, black issues, it's hilarious and true.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
like Nick DiPaolo as well. The guy's like a huge Trump. He'll support Trump like fucking Trump can say he walked on water. Nick DiPaolo would say, yes, it's true. I don't care because the CNN said otherwise. Fuck CNN. Like, like it's just hilarious
Look,
how angry that guy is. Like, why like not be that?
Look, I think I'm getting there. I think I'm getting to that point where I am starting to get very angry, and I want to start maybe becoming almost, I don't want to say political comic, but that will be a part of what I do. Because I like talking about general things and entertaining people, like in general. But when you become a political comic, you are narrowing a bit the market, especially in Cape Town or in South Africa, because nobody gives a damn about politics. So
Just shit on the DA in Cape Town. You'll do fine.
yeah,
Let's be honest.
but I don't. I see. That's the other thing. I don't. Even though I'm becoming angry, I don't know. I don't feel I know enough yet. I'm learning and I'm becoming more
Right.
involved, but I don't know enough yet about politics. Like the DA, for example, right? In my opinion, from what I've heard about them, I don't think they're bad. They're a bad party. I can't.
No, that's the problem. You must hate all of them, whether you know them or not. That's when you're objective. You just hate everyone.
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, I get you now. Just hate and be angry with everyone. But then that's an angry
No, not
comic. That's what we call an angry
what's wrong
comic.
with it? What's wrong with it? Yeah,
I'm,
that's brilliant. We need more of that in South Africa. I don't want this fucking bullshit. White people did this and
I definitely
mock
don't do
accents.
that.
Like, really?
I definitely don't do
No,
that.
of course you don't. But I mean, are we over the let's make different accents for different South Africans and how we all different from each other? But we actually one rainbow nation. Like, fuck, we heard that bullshit so many times. Let's get a bit angry. Let's say, colors, why the fuck aren't you revolting?
Mm.
I've been like, what the fuck? You like a proud people. Now you're fucking around with gangs. Come on, pull yourself together for God's sake.
Yeah, imagine they could use the power of knowledge that they have with gangs and take over. Sorry, I got
There you go, become
distracted.
local government.
Yeah, I got distracted with Ronaldo. He just joined us and he says, "Your guest is cock."
That's why I'm on here and you're not, my friend.
Good comeback. Good comeback. Look, I think I will be changing the trajectory of my comedy career once the lockdown is over. I do want to start talking more about
Do it now.
honest things.
Do it now. Do it
What
now.
What do you want
Come
me to
on.
perform now?
No, 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 not right now. You got a platform. Like, just release like fucking one-liners on Twitter, like every single day. Fucking 5 of them, because it's funny. Like, you just feel like it. Record yourself, release it on Twitter. Come on, you've seen your edits. Your edits of like Ronaldo's videos or my videos, they do so well because you got a knack for it. I'm sorry, there's a fucking helicopter, probably it's the Guptas or something. But I think you have a knack for it, so just like do it, right? Like just like every day, just fucking. What's the one line of the day? What's the funny joke I can make about this news story? And like that's how you practice, and you put it out there, and you can gauge the reaction on Twitter, like you can't believe. Don't think about it, just fucking do it, man. Come on, Joe.
All right, I'll do
I
it.
think you can.
I'll do it. I'll give it a try. For you, Ramon, I'll do it.
No, don't give it a try. Do it.
Okay. All right.
And let me know. If they're good, I'll retweet them.
Okay, that's how I can gauge. Okay, cool. Not what other if Ramon, not other people. If Ramon retweets, then I know it's what do politicians always say? I'm Ramon and I approve this tweet. That kind of thing.
Yeah, no, not like that. No, but listen, I was for 2 months, I was terrified of doing morning shots. Like absolutely terrified. I'm a noob. I don't know how the fucking microphone works. I don't know how editing works. Nothing. And you know what? You just put it out there and you eat the shit. And then the next day you eat less shit.
Mm.
And the next day after that you eat even less. And then by the time I'm not anywhere close. But one day, I don't know if you've seen Layer Cake,
No.
but Layer Cake is a phenomenal movie. And one day you get to be Michael Gambon in Layer Cake. And he says, soon enough, you're so far up the top, you forget what shit even looks like. But first, you have to start eating it at the bottom before you can get there.
Yeah. Yo, okay. Brew, you need to calm down, man. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's trolling. I don't know why. But yeah, you're right. I will try and be a little bit more. Okay, no, I will. I will be angry, outspoken, and a tweet a day. I'll try it. A tweet a day.
Just be honest. Just be honest. Because if you're honest, like you always feel much better when you're honest.
That is true.
Simple.
I have been starting to feel a bit better with the videos that you mentioned now with the editing and stuff like that. Like I feel
I mean,
good.
those are brilliant.
Yeah.
Those are fucking brilliant.
I guess.
Come on.
I guess to be honest, if I'm completely honest with you,
Hmm.
I'm used to being a comedian that talks about general things. So like, um, you know, my experience going to the movie theater and stupid shit that people do when they're at the movie theater, for example. I'm very new to the politics game of it. So I guess to some degree, because it's a new genre, if I can put it that way, I'm scared to to be funny with politics, if that makes sense. Um, and I guess that's just the fear I got to get over. I'm just being honest with you.
The fear. Oh, fuck, I sound like Oprah. Jesus. Like the fear is often greater than the actual problem. Always.
Hmm.
Always. Always. Come on, Joe. You fucking moved, like you lived in 3 different fucking countries around the world. You got this great diverse background. No one can call you racist because you're sort of half white, not fully. Like you got all the elements going for you. Just like fucking just do it. And I think the more you already know about cancel culture. You already know about the political aspects of the comedy scene. Just abuse that. Just abuse that. And make fun of everyone. Please. Everyone. That's very, very important.
Yeah, well, Ronaldo says Black Twitter will come for you.
That's what you want. That's how you start trending on Twitter.
But what the fuck can they do? Yeah, you're right. But that's the thing. Like, I'm kind of waiting for Black Twitter to come after me. I've been waiting for like a few weeks now, but I haven't. I guess I haven't said anything that's really set them off.
No,
So yeah,
sometimes you have to like literally turn their head to what you're doing.
yeah. Okay.
But there you go. There you go. People are saying, "Come on, let's go. Let's go."
Look,
Problem is, yeah,
I
far too
think
serious.
yeah. Well, I think what I definitely would do if there was something that I would attack with my comedy is the racism in this country, or at least the racial narrative that there is in this country. And that's something that angers me tremendously, and that's something that I will use that anger to channel and call out people who are being idiotic, basically, and
I
using
mean,
racial lines to cause chaos.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw my video yesterday about bishops,
Yes, I
right?
did. Yes.
Right. Like, there's a joke dying to be told about the Bishops Matric class of 2020 want to protect and defend minorities, which in South Africa are the whites and the colored and the Indians. So obviously they copy and pasted that, right? The minorities anywhere else in the world are blacks,
Yeah.
right? Especially in America. But at Bishops, a boys' school, they want to create a feminist society to end rape culture. I
Yeah,
mean, come
that's
on, there's
like
so many jokes
dark
that come from
though. That's
that.
so
Come on.
dark. And that's the other thing. I'm not a dark comic, so I mean there are
I
jokes there. I mean,
okay.
when you were, I remember you were talking about that stuff, and there were a few things that popped into my mind, and I'm like, huh, that would be funny. I need to watch the episode again. So yeah, I think the thing is, I do come up with funny lines, and I just got to get into the habit of going. I need to put that on Twitter, basically. That's
Just get a notebook. Just write them down.
oh, I write
Like I
them down.
write. Yeah, I have a notebook with me all day. Like I see a headline for my video, like for research, right?
Yeah.
Just write it down and tweak it a bit. And when you're happy, put it out on Twitter, man. You'll be so surprised how the first 5, 6 years of Twitter were just people having like the best one-liners ever.
Mm.
And I think it's time for a comeback to that sort of thing. But also take a video of yourself. You'll be surprised how far those go.
Yeah,
And
I
then
definitely will.
yeah, and then you can do it. And when you got nothing to fear, what are you gonna lose?
That's also true. But I think that's why also I've become a little bit more outspoken, as I mentioned earlier. Like I don't have anything to lose. Like I don't. Like not a lot of people booked me. I had to make my own way with comedy. I mean, I made my own way with comedy from the beginning. I never begged for a stage. I made my own stage. And I've been performing ever since. And there are comedians that I know that support me in what I say and what I do, and I'll just hang out with them. Already, the industry anyway is already clicky. The guys that
And
like each
yeah.
other will support each other.
And believe me, Joe, believe me, when you start doing it and you start getting popular, others will follow you like you can't believe. Others will join you like you can't believe. You're going to start your own cult of Joe Emilio very soon because everyone to a large degree thinks what you think. But no one wants to say it because they think people don't think how they think.
I've noticed
But
that.
the
Yeah.
data is clear. The data is clear. 8 out of 10 South Africans practically believe in the same thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So appeal to those people. And they aren't on Twitter or making headline news or any shit like that.
Mm.
Your average schmo thinks what you think. So speak on his or her behalf, and yeah, you'll see.
Hold
You'll get a
on.
big follow.
Ronaldo is asking, "Get me on this stream." I don't know how you feel about that.
It's your stream, my friend. Excuse me. It's your
Are
stream.
you okay to
Uh,
go a bit longer? I don't know if he's serious about it, so I'll wait for him to tell me if he's serious about it. I was gonna end it in a few moments, but I mean, maybe he wants to say something. Maybe he also wants to join in the conversation. But yeah, if Ronaldo, if you're serious, I need your Skype or whatever. But yeah, call me on Skype. Going
I
back.
got 15 minutes. So
Okay, cool. Now, well, then we'll leave it. We'll leave it. Rather not. Sorry, Ronaldo.
if he comes on, he comes on. I'm happy.
Yeah. So okay. So you will start seeing a more honest Joe, if I can put it that. Not a sleepy Joe, an honest Joe.
No, not creepy Joe. Honest Joe. It's what America needs. It's what America needs. Honest Joe.
And maybe what a South Africa needs as well. Um,
I mean, sorry that I hijacked your
no,
stream,
it's
by the
okay.
way.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. I think it's a conversation maybe I also needed to have. So thank you for the encouragement because it has been something that has been weighing on me a little bit. I guess I needed someone like you to, and people in the comments. Thank you so much for the overwhelming support. I can see a lot of people saying, "Do it, do it, do it." So thank you guys. Thank you, Ramon. That was something I needed to hear. So thank you.
Oh no, pleasure of mine. Pleasure of mine. Listen, I was in your position, like 4 months ago,
I see.
right? I was to this day. Sometimes I get in front of my computer. I'm like shit scared of pressing the record button, right? But you can edit out all the bullshit. You can edit out all the mistakes, so
Yeah.
people only see the finished product. And the more you do it, the better you get. It's very simple.
Exactly.
Consistency over quality all the time.
Yeah.
Perfection is the enemy of progress. And the only way to progress is to actually do the fucking thing, if I'm honest. I hate to sound preachy or like fucking Oprah. Oprah ruined an entire generation of children with the self-esteem bullshit. But you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about the quality. All you have to worry about is just getting it out there.
Yeah.
And that's what's worked for me. And that's what's worked with, a lot of other people as well.
Yeah.
Go listen to Joe Rogan's first podcast. Fucking awful. Terrible.
Well, my
Look at the
first
first morning shot.
yeah.
Terrible.
Well, my first comedy performance was terrible, and the first show I did on here was terrible. So I know it's progression and stuff like that. But I guess, like I said, there's been a fear. There has been a fear. I like you said, I'm a nice guy or respectful guy, and I'm scared of rejection. I mean, if we really want to get like deep into this, it's a rejection thing, and it's I don't deal with it very well, and I'm scared of losing some of the people that I highly respect and opinions that might be made and all that stuff. That's what I'm scared of. But it's that need and that want and that part of me that always remembers: be true to yourself, be honest, don't let cancel culture or other people dictate your life. And that makes me more angry and frustrated when I start to retract and be like, oh, I should be careful because people are going to think this. And then I start to think, no, you are who you are. Anybody who doesn't like it, fuck them.
Yes, that's the job we want. Do you remember what your dad said? What did your dad say to you?
You are an American and never be ashamed of it.
There we go. You are Joe, and you should never be ashamed of it. Fuck. I mean, the fact that you are, to be fair, like speaking to me, like I've been cancelled by fucking everyone on your side of the fence. Not you, like comedians, people in the public eye, they don't give a shit about me, and I'm glad. But the fact that you're speaking to me, like you're already way ahead of them, by the way. Like you're already way ahead of their thinking. They're waiting for a corporate gig in September.
Yeah.
No, fuck, you're gonna make a Twitter video tomorrow, And every other day, every day till whenever. All you have to do is just do it, man. Just do it. Don't worry about turn off notifications if you want. Turn
I
off
already
all
have.
the responses. There we go. There you go. So you don't look at the negativity. Just do it.
Yeah. I also
That's how
have
it
this
works.
thing where I don't block people. So like I've noticed that like with the lefty, they like annoy you until you block them, and then they start sharing it like, oh look, he blocked me, I win. So I refuse to block someone on Twitter. I like refuse. You can hound me as much as you want. I'll just ignore you. I really will. Like there's no way you can find anything about me on Twitter, like other than my email maybe, but that's about it. Because
Yeah, but I would block people though, because they can mass report you if you don't block them.
oh really?
That's how
Okay.
people get mass reported and suspended from Twitter. So block everyone who irritates you.
Okay, thank you for that advice. I did not know that. See, I'm new to this whole Twitter thing as well. I really only started getting into Twitter at the beginning of lockdown. so, so I'm quite new to this stuff. But thank you. Mute. What if you mute conversation? Jade is saying if you mute the conversation, does that not work?
Yeah, yeah, that just takes out the annoyance. But yeah, no, block people who irritate the fuck out of you. They're not worth your time. Simple.
All right. Fantastic. Then I will do that. Look, I know you got to go. So I will say goodbye. But thank you, Ramon, for number one, the great advice, and number two, the support, and number three, thank you for your time. I know we went a bit over time, but it was great chatting to you, and I hope you'll be willing to come back on my show again, especially if you can see that I need another pep talk again. Be more than willing to have you on the show again.
No, well, I didn't mean to have a pep talk. Just that the fact, so in
Kidding.
the comments, Jade is talking about her tits, and now I can't focus anymore. Um, I'm joking, Jade. Jesus, calm yourself. No, but Joe, sorry, I didn't mean to come on and like give advice,
No,
but
it's
I
just a
think
conversation, man. It's fun. It's
I,
okay.
I know, I think I know the start is always the
Yeah.
most difficult part, and once you just desensitize yourself to what it actually means, the point is not to focus on how to get to 10,000 subs. The point is to make a video for tomorrow.
Mm.
And tomorrow, how to make a video for tomorrow. and then the next day, how to make a video for that. Just focus on small things every day, and they lead up to great things. Really,
Cool.
don't focus on the future. Focus on what's tomorrow. How can I be 2% better? And it sounds stupid, and it sounds dumb, but it fucking works.
Yeah, the method is more important than the. What did you say the other day? We were talking
Yeah,
about
the
goals.
system's more important than the goal. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Can we at least have one joke, Joe? Come on, just one joke to end, please.
I have to write, man. I can't just. I'm not very good at on the cuff. I don't know. I'm looking at you.
Not even like insult comedy,
Insult comedy aisle, man. You
like
you
Don
just
Rickles.
you just told me that I'm like a nice guy. Do you think a nice guy can be mean to to people I don't know, or And I'm scared of you, man. I don't know. I don't know what. Like
I'm not. I'm a very nice guy.
I mean, I don't mean to say that you're not a nice guy, but I think that like if you and I ever met in person, I'm pretty sure you could kick my ass. Like I'm pretty sure that you could easily.
Why would I do that though? Come on.
I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
All right.
All right. No, I know the feeling. You don't need to say a joke. I know it irritates comedians when people do that.
Like at the brew. Then you are not a comedian. Okay, well then you say a joke, dude. I don't think you can, so that's okay. What kind of name is the brew anyway? Like, the fuck. This is the guy. Like the brew. You know what you've been doing this entire time. You are that heckler in the crowd that just like this whole time during a show. That's all you've been doing is heckling people the entire time. You have your own channel where you can get your own viewership. So why don't you go on your channel and make fun of yourself so that nobody can watch it? And then I have one last comment here. Joe is scared of Ramon. That's a joke. See, there we go.
Yeah, but then someone you just appropriated that joke. Come on. All right, Joe.
But isn't that what comedians do anyway?
Yeah, but I want vulgar blackface cultural appropriation, not just
Blackface. Wow.
chat
Okay.
appropriation.
Jeez, you're trying to get me in trouble.
Nothing to lose, my friend. Nothing to lose. We know how to get attention. People are just scared of it.
Yeah. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Ramon Cabanac. It has been such an interesting chat, getting to know Ramon, getting to know me as a comedian, and apparently I need to kick myself in the butt and get a bit angry, so I'm going to try. I'm going to try and be the Hulk of the comedy industry. I'll think of it like that. Although I won't turn green, I might turn blackface, apparently. So, ladies and gentlemen, Ramon, once again, thank you so much for your time and the advice. And I'll catch you tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. I have left links to Renegade Reports, Ramon's Twitter, and his YouTube channel, Morning Shots, in the description below if you want to go and watch that. So please go check that out and support Ramon. He is fantastic at what he does. So thanks again, Ramon, and I'll chat to you later. Cool.
Joe, thank you so much for the invitation. And always a pleasure. Call me whenever you want to. I'll be glad to join on your show. We'll join you on your show. But then you must be mean to me. You must be really mean. Say, morning shots, absolute shit. It's like more like a cup of lukewarm tea than an espresso.
All right, I'll write some stuff specially for you and I'll roast you. How about that?
Awesome. Yeah. Can't wait.
Did you catch the pun? Did you get that? The pun, roast pun, huh? No? Okay. I'll work on it. Cheers. Good night, everyone. I'll see you at the next one. Good night.
Good night, everyone.